What's going on, Geminites? GemMint here, and today we're going to talk about 10 things that I think make comic shops great. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another top 10 list, and like I said, I'm talking the 10 things that I think make a comic shop great. Now, I'm not saying that they have to have all 10 of these things. Hell, if you do one of these things great, you're pretty good in my opinion. But these are 10 things that I think make comic shops awesome, and it's not going to be in any particular order. We're just going to kind of go 1 to 10 here. Before we do, if you're digging the content, make sure to hit that like button. If you want, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. We actually are doing a big giveaway for our next subscriber milestone, and we're giving away a Deja Thor's premium format statue. If you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll give you more details on that giveaway. But with that being said, let's jump into the list. 1. All right, now I know this is going to sound funny, but weekly comic books with variants. Now I know you're saying, like, what kind of comic shop doesn't have the weekly titles? There's one in my town that doesn't have weekly titles. If you don't have weekly titles, to me, you're not a comic shop that I would frequent. And talking about kind of what makes comic shops great, like my shop personally, this is all they really focus on are weekly titles, and I'm cool with that. That's all I really need them for. So they do a great job. Weekly comics, and I think it really helps when you have a bigger shop that's able to get all of those ratio variants up into the 1 out of 500. I just think it's good to have the variety, have the option to get those rare books. So weekly comic books with all the variants. 2. Number 2, along with weekly comic books, a pull list with a discount. So most shops that I know of have a pull list where you can say, hey, I want these titles every month, every week, or whatever. And because you're guaranteed these sales, you get some type of discount. Now, when retailers buy books, now they get them all at 50% off, I believe, with the new the way the new distribution works. So they get them at 50% off. They could give you a 10%, a 15% discount off of your pull. For somebody who reads a lot of weekly titles like myself, that's clutch because it can be very expensive, man. These books are like $3.99 and up, sometimes $7.99. So having that discount helps, having that pull list so that you're guaranteed to get issues. You don't have to kind of gamble every time you go to the shop that a certain title is going to be sold out or not. If you're selling weekly comics, you got to have that pull list and discount preferred. 3. All right, guys, number 3 on the list, I'm talking about having a library section of hardcover books. As you see behind me, I'm a big fan of collected editions. I'm a big fan of the omnibus format. So when I go into a comic shop, I love seeing them have a dedicated area for this because I like to browse. Maybe there's a out-of-print book that I don't own that they still have because nobody picked it up, or maybe there's a hardcover that I'm not familiar with, that I'm not aware was ever released. It's nice to be able to browse and kind of find a title that maybe you weren't even looking for. Maybe you say, oh man, I want to try that, Spider-Man run or whatever. So having that library, man, Tate's Comics back in South Florida and Past, Present, Future had huge collected edition and hardcover libraries, and I would go there every weekend just to browse to see what they got. So you got the weekly comics. If you can have hardcovers and collected editions as well, you're doing something right. 4. All right, guys, next up, we're talking about back issues. And I know it sounds like a no-brainer as well, but there's a lot of shops out there that don't have back issues. Even though my shop really focuses on weekly titles, they still have a good selection of back issues. And it's always fun to go there, dig through all their boxes. Maybe you want to put together an older run, or maybe you could even find like a semi-key or a book that was never a key, but it's hot all of a sudden because of some show or some movie. I'm looking at you, Peacemaker. So it's cool to have the back issues, to just dig through, to look through, to hunt for something, which hunting is gonna come back up in this list again. 5. All right, guys, next up, kind of going with back issues, but I'm talking key issues. Now, I mentioned Tate's in South Florida. They had a great selection because in their back issue area, they had wall books that were $20 to $50 to maybe $100, kind of like minor keys, semi-keys, and then they would have big keys behind the register, sometimes CGC graded, but big first appearances. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, you going on the hunt. Maybe you want to hunt back issues to put a run together. Maybe you're collecting keys. I was able to actually come up by getting raw raw keys, submitting them to CGC, and getting higher grades and flipping them to help fund the hobby. So key issues, I think that's a plus. Before we move on to number 6, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Street Level Hero. Street Level Hero has exclusive variants with new drops every Tuesday and Thursday. They just released their Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters 4 exclusive variant by Tyler Kirkham, and you can save 10% on that or any item on the store by using the code GemMint at checkout. Just like with their sister site, THATSPIDERMANBOOTH.com, who has $30 mystery boxes where you're guaranteed 5 comics of retail value. One lucky box is going to include their giveaway prize of the Eternals issue 2, CGC 9.8, the first appearance of Ajax and the Celestials. This round ends on August 25th, so make sure to use that same code GemMint to save 10% anytime you buy a box, and hey, you might win that GP. All right, guys, moving on to number 6, and this is probably a no-brainer, but for me, as somebody who collects statues, I love it when shops have a statue selection. Some do it big, like Tate's, like Torpedo Comics in Las Vegas, even Past, Present, Future. That's really how I even learned about statues in the first place, was going into my local comic shop and seeing their displays. What I liked about Tate's was you never knew what was going to be in that case. Sometimes it was a new Sideshow premium format, sometimes it's an old-school Bowen piece, so it was always interesting, and again, that window shopping, kind of finding something that you like that you weren't necessarily looking for. I know it's kind of bad for the budget, but that's what was always fun for me, going to these shops every weekend and taking a look at what they got. 7. Number 7 on the list is a knowledgeable and helpful staff. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of you guys who have horror stories out there about unfriendly staffs or employees that were rude to you. I think that is almost the most important thing of a local comic shop, is having somebody that can give you recommendations, or somebody that's just willing to help and willing to answer your questions. I think that goes a really long way, especially because a lot of people wander into the comic shop. They haven't been into comics since they were kids, and if you get a bad experience, you could potentially lose somebody that could be a customer for life, could be somebody in comics. Like, think about it. If I got back into comics and the shop was rude to me, I might have never gotten into it as heavy as I did, maybe never started the channel. I'm just saying, it could be a big domino effect with how staff treats customers. So I think having that knowledgeable, helpful staff is super important for an LCS. 8. Moving on to number 8, kind of going with that theme, I'm talking about a clean and organized shop. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been in some dives that were super fun because you really never know what the hell you're going to get, and you could definitely find some gold in those type of places. However, something about having that clean shop, the floors are clean, everything's organized alphabetically, whether it be the weekly titles or the back issues, so that if you are looking for something, it's easy to find. Those dusty stores that have the old inventory, you could find some gold, you could really dig there and spend a lot of time, but if you're looking for something specific, good luck with that. So clean and organized shop. 9. Number 9, having sales and events. Another thing that Tate's does really good. And this isn't sponsored by Tate's, believe me, I would say if it was. It's just that they would hold 2 tent sales a year. They would have all these tents outside where everything was discounted. Inside, back issues, even statues were discounted. I think that's great to get rid of old inventory, make room for new inventory, and it just drives traffic to the shop. I used to want to open a shop, and that's something that I always said that I was going to do, man. We got to hold events. We got to get people excited to want to come into the LCS. Shoot, even my LCS, which, like I said, the customer base is typically just weekly comic book readers, but it was packed for Free Comic Book Day, and that's not even an event that LCSs really hold. It's a publisher-wide event. So I think having sales, having events is a must. It makes it fun. It gives you a reason to get out the house, get to that shop, spend some money, and buy some cool stuff. Final. And the last thing on this list, number 10, is the miscellaneous crap. Again, Tate's does a great job of that. A section where there's just knickknacks and like books, stuff that you can buy people as a gift, you know, so stuff that my wife could go and say, oh wow, Marvel Encyclopedia or what have you. Just miscellaneous stuff that maybe is for casual people, maybe so you can go there. Like I used to bring Fee with me to the shop. She would look in that area while I'm looking at hardcovers and statues. So I think having the miscellaneous stuff is really good. It's kind of just adding more of a flair to your shop, giving more options, giving reasons to bring your kids with you. They'll keep themselves busy in there. And again, you know, other people that love comics, you could potentially just get them some kind of gift or something nice that, you know, you don't have to think too hard about, spend a lot of money on a key or a statue or something like that. So the miscellaneous crap is worth it. So that's the 10 things that make LCSs great. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did I miss anything? Are there anything else that comic shops do or can do or should do to make their shops great? I am working on a list on local comic shop turnoffs. If you guys are interested in me recording that, let me know in the comments below. I mentioned we're doing the giveaway for the Deja Thoris, and that's all you got to do. Be subscribed to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment on this video. Once we hit the next subscriber milestone of 150K, I'll go live, pick a random video where I promoted the giveaway, and use a random YouTube comment generator to draw a worldwide winner. So you're going to want to comment on as many videos as possible. Big shout out again to Street Level Hero for sponsoring the video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't go anywhere. I got a ton of other videos here for you guys to watch. Stay minty fresh. Peace.